My name is Scott Armey, and I'm running for Congress because I love this country, I love this state, and I love this district. But most importantly, I'm running for Congress because I love my children. I was born here, raised here, I've lived here all of my life. In 1984, at the age of 15, I walked door to door in this very district to turn it red for the first time. Then in 1992, at the age of 22, I was elected Denton County Commissioner and served there 8 years and 2 years as county judge. I helped to build the roads that we rely on and the communities that we live in today. This has always been my home and always will be. I raised my family here. My kids all went to school here. My wife is a special education teacher with Louisville ISD. And this is our home, and it always will be. I work as a financial advisor now, and fiscal responsibility has always been my passion. That's what I want to bring to Congress, is a new sense of fiscal responsibility to once again start reducing the debt and cutting spending.
All right. Well, we'll have 4 questions, 4 replies. Our first question comes from the Wyeth Republican Party, Scott. What is the purpose of our government in the world, and what, if any, relations should we have with other countries?
Good. The United States of America, since its inception, has always been a beacon of freedom to the world, and we take great pride in that. We've always been there when parts of the world have been threatened. America has stood tall and stood strong, but it shouldn't stand alone. We should, as we lead in the world, lead through innovations and economic prosperity like we always have, lead in freedoms and dignity and respect for others. And when we make our allies, we need to stand by those allies. America doesn't need to be the policeman of the world any longer, and America doesn't need to be the financing source for all nations. I saw recently where we contribute to almost all the nations across the globe. And we need to reevaluate that, especially in the situation that we find ourselves financially. In order to be that beacon in the future, we have to make sure we are strong ourselves.
Very good. Our next question comes from the South Wyeth Republican Club. Immigration and protecting our national sovereignty are always talking points, but never get solved. What would be your solution to creating a merit-based immigration system and protecting our borders?
First and foremost, we're at a crisis situation where we now become paralyzed. What's happening with this no borders policy of President Biden is that it's impacting every level of government, every part of our lives. And we have to stop this unmitigated flow of traffic. We have to stop the bleeding before we can evaluate the damage and begin the repairs. So first and foremost, we must close the borders, secure the borders. Once we've done that, then we can start evaluating what needs to come next. Deporting those who are criminals first, ending the welfare that provides an incentive for folks to try to come across illegally. And once we take a lot of that emotion out and start evaluating this and getting back to legal immigration, there's an opportunity for us to reevaluate our immigration process. Just as every other federal agency has problems, our immigration policy does too. A merit-based system that moves more efficiently will help us to reward those who really want to be a part of America.
Very good. Next question comes from the Patriot Society of Boyd, Texas. As an elected member of Congress, you will swear an oath to the U.S. Constitution to defend against enemies both foreign and domestic. Will you author and support bills to defund the FBI and any other federal agencies weaponized against the American people? And please explain how you would accomplish that.
When I served as Denton County Commissioner and Denton County Judge, it was a very unique position in that the Commissioner's Court controlled the purse strings for all of the other elected officials in the county. That was the only leverage we had to make sure that we were moving in the same direction at the county. Well, Congress has that same responsibility and that same leverage that they don't exercise any longer. Today, the debt is $34 trillion. Congress needs to remember that they control the purse strings, and they have the ability to hold rogue agencies in check and make sure they are responsive and performing what is their duty as put forth in the Constitution and through laws, and not running off on their own by controlling their budgets. So there's been talk of defunding, but we can do some actual defunding of those agencies that do not respond and do not give any consideration to Congress. Congress needs to remember that they control mightily what can happen in the United States government through the budget process.
Our fourth and final question comes from the Wise County Conservatives. Based on your understanding of the U.S. Constitution, in what circumstances, if any, can a state lawfully nullify a federal action, written law, or policy?
The Constitution was written with very narrowly defined authorities given to the federal government. And in fact, we also have the 10th Amendment, which reserves all other laws to the states. So the states also need to realize that the power that they wield, too much power has been ceded to the government because the government, again, is a big pot of money for the states. So once the states realize that they actually do have some leverage and they have sovereignty and start exercising that, as we've seen recently right here in Texas with the new law that's giving local law enforcement the ability to enforce immigration laws, they're going to win those challenges in the Supreme Court. And I hope that it is a new signal to states that read the Constitution and remember and realize once again the power that you actually have against this tyrannical federal government. When the states realize that, we'll start to see some action.